Right, hello. So this should still be a regular stream tonight that anybody can join and chat in, but as YouTube's given me that membership thing now, at least once a week I'll be doing a stream which will be a members-only stream, and as far as I'm aware, I think most people can still watch them, but to chat in the chat you have to be a member. So that'll be one of the things I'll be doing per week with that, as well as at least one video per month, maybe more, trying to do, things. All right, Altrix, good to see you're a member on there. I'm going to send sort of a hello message to everybody after this stream ends, but yeah, so that's good. So yeah, basically, I don't know if it lets me send custom messages to you. I think it does on like my community tab. I think I can send messages just to members. And hello, Captain Diomedes. So it's good you're on here because I can see that this is still working as a regular stream for most people as well. So basically what the membership thing is, basically I think YouTube wants to do an alternative to Patreon so they can obviously get more money. So it's basically like a Patreon thing built into YouTube where you can support a channel by basically pledging an amount to them per month, but then you can get benefits through YouTube itself. Yeah, I don't know if you saw, Mike, I upped my Patreon to you, but I don't know if it goes through yet because that way, like we said, it's covered you. But it should be quite good, at least for the membership thing, because I see it, in the sense that it's a bit better value than money, especially for the people who just give super chats anyway. They get a bit more out of it. But hello to everybody. The good thing I think as well with the membership thing is I assume if I do a member stream every now and then, there'll probably be a lot less people going, what's your favorite gas mask and everything. Yeah, it's working. Ye or yeah. All right, Mr. Livera. All right. Right, I'm sorry, I've forgotten. It wasn't Ryan or something, was it? Or Rayan? I've forgotten again. All right, cheers, Braden. But yeah, it'll be quite interesting to see how this works. I'm going to have to see if I can schedule things properly, like using a tab for it. This one isn't a members-only stream, Marcus, this one. Al Ryan. Yeah, I'm going to keep forgetting. I keep remembering it was something like to do with Ryan, but... All right, thank you, Altrix. Extra money, I appreciate it. But yeah, I've got a tab here where I can refresh it every now and then and see how many members I've got so far. So I've got 13, which isn't bad in the first day of launching the membership thing. All right, Supreme Mango Juice, thank you as well for joining. But yeah, it's for the people who didn't know, it's basically like, because I think it's because I'm close to 100k subs, YouTube's given me the option of essentially doing an extra monetization of the channel. And in some ways, I like the idea of it more than Patreon because I think technically with Patreon, I get a bit more of every donation, but Patreon can be a bit of a pain in the ass sometimes because obviously it's a separate platform to YouTube. All right, I hope you get your value for money then, Supreme Mango Juice. I don't know what good stuff's on PS Plus, but you do get a free game every month, don't you? All right, Miss Valadez? Yeah, I've set it at only $2 or like £2 a month. I don't know if it will actually show up as $2. But I thought that way it's actually quite affordable, and that's why I've only just done one tier for the time being. I've not done, like, oh, you have to pay $10 to... All right, Mr. Livera, thanks for joining up. Right, it should be the last of it, Marcus, if I can get a box big enough to fit everything in. It should be the one in the tin, whichever model that was. I should be able to look that up. The S10, the other parts from the Israeli Papa kits that I forgot to include, like an instruction manual and some like bout loop type things. The Industrial 700 series was the name of that mask. And what else was it? There's the S10, that one. I've already sent you the M2000. Oh, it's the Taiwanese mask, isn't it? No, it's literally like $1.99, as in like £1.99. It's not an extortionate amount. And thanks again, Altrix. Yeah, I don't know if I could put a tier in that's literally you pay stupid money and you get nothing as a bonus. Oh yeah, the M3 as well. I've got them all together out there, so I won't forget them. Actually, no, the M3's in here. Good point. Yeah, I'll definitely need to get a bigger bag to fit the box, even to fit them all in. Yeah, like I say in Seamus, most of the week, it will just be normal streams. I'm just going to do like one day a week at least, do a members stream. I think I have some Patreons before when they have like a thing of I will give you appreciation, but you get nothing for this tier kind of things. But Do you know what series it was in, Supreme? Because I've not watched Breaking Bad in years. Let me just type in Breaking Bad gas mask. Wasn't it like a 3M style one? Ah, yeah, it's a 3M. Is it a 3M 6000? Or at least it looks like that. I'm trying to see if there's the original screen cap from the episode rather than it being, like somebody cosplaying it. Right, it looks like a 3M 6000 with the pink Neosh filters, whatever it's called. So let me just get you one up. So yeah, if I link to Screwfix, obviously they're pretty expensive. You can probably get them cheaper elsewhere. But thank you as well, Heitzler, if I'm pronouncing your name right. There you go. So if you have a look at that one, Supreme Mango Juice, if you look at that one, I think it's just this one with the pink Neosh filters on it. I'm pretty sure that's what it is looking at the screenshots, but I've not seen it in any. All right, so I think that's Snorky, isn't it? But your name, with the blue mod text against the green background means I can't really read it. But yeah, it is Snorky. Thank you as well. There you go. Marcus has answered you exactly what it was. All right, Isaac. Surplus is like army surplus when stuff, like all the old masks and shit, like the old Geiger counters, when basically they've got too much of it and it's kind of no longer in use, so it just gets sold as surplus, like all old helmets and everything else. Let me check Altrix's ping, because I've obviously missed it with how fast the chat's moving. Oh, yeah. Sure can, Altrix. I think I did it, didn't I, anyway? But you can post the thing if you want to. Yeah, that's a very good way of putting it when the army's fed up with something and they sell them, or they desperately need money and sell them. I think, Mike, the people who had the banner come up are the ones that have just joined during the stream. As in, like, it's almost a bit like doing a super chat where they've joined up during the stream. So if you're already there, so you get that like green icon next to your name, and I think the longer you're subscribed, that changes color. So I think it goes to like red if you've been subscribed for a year or more. I'm just going to do it Tyrick at the moment as extra, like at least one extra video per month that I'll keep sort of for members only, which will probably be like a behind the scenes making of thing or like a requested video if it's like question and answers video from members kind of thing. That way it would actually be more easy for me to do those. Because the problem is when I've tried to do Q&A videos, like at the moment, where everybody watches, they just get buried because of the amount of people that try and watch them. So there'll be that kind of thing. And once a week, at least, I should be doing a members-only stream. So it's just basically the only people that can join the chat are people that are members. Not in the UK, Seamus. I think some countries probably still use the S10 or derivatives. Quite a few places still use the FM12. Italy does. Spaziani's an Italy company, Italian company, Supreme Mango Juice, that makes them. I think British police just use the FM12 series, Caleb, and probably some other masks. Yeah, because I think I noticed on YouTube streams now, Mike, when I start them, it also says like members join the stream. Let me refresh the thing and I can tell you. We are at assuming this refreshes in real time, 15 members, which before YouTube takes a cut means £30 per month for me, which is pretty good because, that goes towards the bunker. Oh, that's annoying. Yeah, I know that's the case with a few countries. People can't actually do super chats or whatever. Most expensive mask I have in terms of how much I paid for it or like rarity and value of it. Well, I'm saving up for a bunker to basically renovate and have as like a second home, somewhere to live, basically. So most likely going to be an ROC post, although you sometimes can get some old World War II bunkers that are kind of similar to it, like air raid shelters that are underground. It should be Trevor £1.99. I don't know what it is for dollars. If international people could tell us what it shows up as in their currency, I'd appreciate that. But I think when I set it up, I could either set it as 99p or it was £1. I think it was £1.99. Then every tier was like, 5, 10, 15, 20. I think it was prices like that. So 20 Norwegian kroner, that's about £2 exactly, isn't it? Also, in the USA, you literally get it for £1.99, right? You get it cheaper then because the pound is technically worth more than the dollar, but in reality, it's not really. Like euros, pounds, and dollars are pretty much an equal currency. But it would be when it's restored, but that's the thing. Like, obviously, before then, it would be like a horrible, damp sort of, little pit. But the idea is get one, restore it, and then it's way cheaper than having a house. And I want it to be as off-grid as possible. Just because, I think the idea would be quite cool of having something where it's like minimal cost of living if you're there, other than paying for food. It'd be from the outset, try and get as much of it on like solar, as possible. Yeah, that's the thing, Trevor. I can appreciate that because when all the Corona stuff happened, I had to stop supporting some of the people I was supporting on Patreon because I used to support quite a few channels on there. But because the thing was, I didn't know if I was going to lose my job as well, because obviously a lot of people did lose their jobs. And thank you very much, Pyro Bureau, is that? If I'm pronouncing it right. Oh, let me load up Discord. I've not got Discord loaded up at the moment, Altrix, but I'll do it. I think what I'm going to do when Corona's over, Supreme Mango Juice, is probably be quite happy. But yeah, my area is probably going into lockdown soon. Oh, for the people who want to see the NHS app, I'll get that up because I've been using that all of today when I've been out and about doing like shopping for my granddad and that. And so far, it hasn't told me I've come into contact with anybody. So there we go. It's probably too bright to see, isn't it? But it says your app is scanning, and it says my risk is still medium in my area. But there should be a button, Tyrick. I've also got a thing that should come up in every description now. All right. Cheers, Altrix. That's quite good, yeah, how you've done that, because it, shows you all the things you get. I've got a load of things in general now. That's weird. Altrix says, sorry I didn't join the stream today, even though he's on the stream. That's strange. But yeah, for the people who are on Patreon, if you're, I'm just going to say, if you're supporting me on Patreon for like a similar amount, I'd say, in all honesty, cancel your Patreon and support me on this because I think it would work out better in the long run. Because with Patreon, I have to generally wait till like the 3rd of each month for the last months for them to process it. Then they take all their cut and that. So I don't think it'd work out too much different. But yeah, big thank you to everybody joining up. Sorry, I'm just trying to jump between a load of messages at the moment. No, I didn't stream earlier. I was just talking to people, Altrix, about it. Oh, also something cool. I can show you the atom tag thing for the radiation. So I'll zoom in so it's not showing exactly where my house is at the moment. But this is quite interesting. Look, you can see bits of the Oxford Ring Road there, and you can see what the radiation level was on the map when I was in the car with the atom tag on me. So you can see some areas are slightly higher green. So when they're going more yellow, that's obviously higher radiation levels. But that's actually a really cool feature of this, the thing. Yeah, Kraken was right to say that was a really good feature. It's just I hadn't had a chance to play about with it. But yeah, it was good to actually have that on me out and about today and seeing like where you've been and what the radiation levels were. The closest Mackenzie I've got to a tactical helmet cover is wherever I can find it, the helmet cover that goes on the Mark 7. Not the Mark 7, sorry, the Virtus helmet, because it's got a cover that's, cut to shape and like properly stitched to shape as well. So like those bits stick through the cover. But I think I've got it in one of the boxes there and I'd have to dig it out, But... All right, Peter, thanks for joining up. Yeah, a big thank you to everybody joining up as well. Yeah, I reckon we're going to have a second national lockdown, Isaac, even if they don't call it a national one, because there's so many local ones at this point. At some point, surely it would just be easier for them to say we're locking down everything again for like 2 to 4 weeks. You don't even have to attach an NVG mount to the Virtus. It has one built in, random sod. If you've not seen it, I've done videos with this, with the Gen 1 Plus Pulsar on it, because Hype sent me all the bits to attach it. I've not got it in this room at the moment, so I can't show it you all attached, but yeah. I will do that in a future video again, show it all set up. I mean, ideally, I'd like some sort of mount so the IM101 could hang down, but that'd be a bit bulky. It seems strange that people most at risk are the ones not wearing it when it comes to masks. No, they should never cost that much, Marcelo. The issue is at the moment is that because of Corona, people are upselling all the masks. I briefly heard a bit about that Mr. Live Era earlier, but I didn't get a chance to hear it properly. I just heard it, I think, on some headlines when I was flicking through other stuff. Oh, it's a shit fit, isn't it? I don't like to get into too much into politics. I'll get more into politics actually on the members only streams because I don't mind it so much then. But yeah, we've broken the agreement, they've broken the agreement, haven't they? So it's just tits for tat now, isn't it? But the problem is Supreme Mango Juice. I probably wouldn't say, oh, for a load of money, I'd recommend this one over another one. Yeah, Snorky. I was wearing today the one that Hype sent me. I was wearing a full face mask for part of today. For that wasn't going for out. That was for spraying bleach basically on my granddad's roof. Because it's like weed killer. But I was wearing a strong M50, whatever it's called, the one Hype sent me, which is really nice for him. Because the thing I like about wearing that one out and about, it's got a voice diaphragm on it, and it's really good with my glasses. That I can wear my glasses, they still go over the ear properly, and the nose cup, like that on the glasses, sits quite well on the mask nose cup. So my glasses maybe are sat that far away from my face, so I can actually wear them out and about and have no issues. Yeah, because here's the thing, Marcus. I think there'd be very few people willing to troll if they have to sign up, especially because if they ended up getting blocked, they'd have to sign up again, wouldn't they, with real money to do it. Yeah, it wouldn't be all taboo subjects, Mike, so I have to keep it YouTube friendly. But I don't know, I'm afraid, Hans, because... Or Hannes, I'm afraid I don't know, because obviously I only signed up for the membership thing literally last night when YouTube said to me I could do it. I assume it will auto-renew, but there might be a way of cancelling it before that. But I'm afraid I don't know, because on Patreon and everything, I think it always auto-renews. Well, I know sarin was discovered after Taban, wasn't it, communist dude? As in, Nazi German scientists were working on pesticides and discovered them. If you can get an M17 for a good price, Joe, that would be good. For me, Acid Bat, there's not much point streaming on Twitch. I watch Weapon Collector when he streams games on Twitch, but for me, there's not much point because most people want to watch me on YouTube. Well, stream taboo is in the Tom Hardy series, but then I get copyright strikes. Are you saying it's taboo to talk about those things in streams? Yeah, Claire, I think having one of those masks on would be better. Well, having a face shield would be better than, no mask, no shield, and obviously a mask under it would be better. A mask and a shield combination would be better than just a mask or just a shield. But yeah, they're certainly not as good as a mask, but I think people should wear those who say they can't wear a, regular mask because reasons. It would be better if they wore them than nothing. But yeah, they're meant to be used in combination now, aren't they? Regular face masks. But yeah, I still know a lot of people that wear those rather than proper masks. Let me refresh and look, and I'm getting pinged on Discord, so let me just quickly check what that was. Oh, it's that thing where it says I've been pinged, but I can't even see a comment with me in it. That's typical. Oh, and Henry sent me a message. Cheers, Henry. Let's see. So it is. It's tab. Refresh it. It was 15. It's now 16. So that's good. It's not bad for day one, is it? Well, so that's good because that's at least a number where if some of those people are on during the stream, we could have a bit of a chat on there. Oh, another good thing before I forget is say I go on comments now on YouTube, I can sort them by members. So if anybody's left a comment on any video, assuming YouTube's not hidden it, and actually I don't know, will YouTube hide members' comments like regular live stream comments? I really don't know. So the good thing is I can basically go on comments and then immediately find and reply to members first. If I've only got like 5 minutes to look at the comments, I can just double check the members ones first. My favorite filter, Victoria, that's a good question. I'm trying to think. So obviously there's some good NBC style ones, but they're hard to get. I would say, in all honesty, do I have any handy in the drawer? Right, with no particular brand in mind, these sort of ABEC 2 P3 filters, because you can get them from different brands, but they're very good, protection from all sorts of gases and particles, and they're generally not too expensive, and you can buy ones in date generally for good prices. I've got a few different sealed ABEC 2 P3s made by different brands like this, but I know it's not an individual filter, but different brands do those, so I just go for the ones with good dates, and good prices. Yeah, because Juicy Cartoon, I don't see the point of doing that, because again, I kind of like the idea that some people might want to support you for more, but then I suppose if some people are on the $2 tier, they could just give you a super chat, couldn't they? Right, Geiger counter I'd recommend. At the moment, I'm really enjoying the atom tag that Kraken's lent me, because as I was saying, you can actually use that to do a mapping feature. So you can go around somewhere. You can see where I've been on the ring road there, around Oxford, and you can see where it's all green because it's good levels, but it color codes it. So my house is actually slightly more irradiated on that than everywhere else, but that was just because I had the Geiger counter next to a check source. So, like, I've got a red dot where my house is. I've got that out of frame, so it's not showing it exactly on the map. But the Therapy GQ-GMC 500 and the Radioscan 701A are all really good. The Therapy's below me, and I've not got batteries in it. But these two are really good. If you want classic ones, there are lots of good retro Geigers, but bear in mind, for most people, buying a modern digital Geiger counter makes a lot more sense, because you can just get one that kind of works out the box and has a guarantee on it. And it's not like, a 5 kilo box that you wear a strap around, that one, I think, Supreme Mango Juice is the one that came with the Spaziani TR2002. You got that same filter of yours, didn't you, Mike? It's quite a bulky looking filter, but yeah, it's just basically an ABEC P3. All right, get on with your homework then, Altrix, but thank you for the donations and thank you for joining up. It reminds me of an old Nokia, Peter. Does it remind you of that? That's what it reminds me of, like the old Nokia phones with the black and white screens. It is a good Geiger, Marcus. The only thing I will say about the Radioscan, the battery life isn't very good. If you put the screen on this to auto turn off mode, like I'll demonstrate that in a second, then the battery lasts quite a bit longer. But that will be my major complaint with this, that the battery life on it isn't anywhere near as good as some other Geigers. But I think that's probably because it's got a color display, and the alpha mica probe in it probably requires higher voltage than a simple just, gamma or beta kind of probe. Yeah, it'll just take a minute to get a background reading, but I can do Victoria. I've sort of covered that before, but what I'll do is I'll end up doing one of like radiation danger levels and that. Something very interesting was there was a thing from a lunar probe recently where they found out that I think 24 hours on the moon was something like 1.1, 1.2 millisievert, something like that. So basically 6 to 7 months of background radiation on Earth is a day's background radiation on the moon, which is actually pretty scary. It means that we wouldn't have a lunar colony anytime soon, because all the astronauts there would be dying of cancer within like a year or two from the radiation levels. Right, Alexei? That's getting close to one Supreme. What you can do is, I think there's some sites, I think there's a government-owned site that shows you how many people in 100 or like 100,000 or whatever have had positive tests, and you can use that to see when the threshold roughly is, because it seems to be like sometimes like 70 plus when they start doing that. Yeah, interestingly, was it Al Ryan? I've already forgotten, sorry. Interestingly, though, another thing of the moon being really radioactive is no north and south pole to deflect the radiation away from the surface. Was that negative on a corona test? If so, that's good news. Yeah, do you know what's annoying with mine, Supreme Mango? My postcode itself doesn't cover all that many people. Oh, and thank you very much, Lewis. I appreciate it. Yeah, so my postcode doesn't cover that many people. Do you know what the problem is? That local areas are going to be branded, covered in by it. So basically, Oxford City Centre and Cowley, which are the two big urban areas near me, they basically, as soon as they go red, and they're the ones going red, every surrounding part of Oxfordshire is going to be lumped into the local lockdown. So here's going to be the problem. I'm in an area where the levels are actually pretty good because it's a bit more rural. As soon as Oxford City Centre gets into the red, we're all getting locked down regardless. And I think that's going to work, be the same in a lot of the UK. That even if your area is quite good, if you're fairly, close or in a postal code group with a bigger city, that city's going to ruin it for you. Yeah, I think that was on the news today, Lewis, that they were saying like households can't mix now in Liverpool and elsewhere. Because I saw there was a picture of the Beatles on the thing, so I assume that was Liverpool, where they had the Beatles statue there. Couldn't imagine it might be anywhere else, but. As in civilian gas masks among us, or specifically like German-style ones, and like German and Finnish ones and all that? All right, Doska? Yeah, that's cool. Like I said, I'm going to be doing every month, like every week, I'm going to be doing like a members-only live stream, and then every month I'm going to be doing, at least once every month, I'm going to be doing like a video that members might request, as long as it's, nothing illegal or whatever. So yeah, if you, I think though, if you join afterwards, you get access, I think, to all like the members only videos I've done before, I imagine. It's up to you completely and your parents, LX Saint LX, but personally, I would say if your school is not taking things seriously, you'd want to consider your own health and your family's health. I'm trying to think, because at the moment, I'm trying to think, because at the moment, there's nothing particularly that, because obviously I've got too many masks, really, and I'd like to, something like an FM53 would be amazing, just because it's a top-end, like modern mask. But at the moment, I'd more want to downsize, just have really practical masks, and then clear up some space and some funds. And thank you, Doska, for joining. Right, what's your budget range, Heixler, for your NVGs or your nods? Because the budget is what, and thank you, right, Planet Zog. I hope that's not an anti-Semitic sort of thing, but if it's just meant to be like a sci-fi sounding thing, thank you for joining. But yeah, the what's your budget? Because that's where most of the problems come out with night vision. The really good stuff gets really expensive unless you just become really lucky on a bid or somebody just wants to sell something. Oh, if you've got $1,000 to spare, you could probably easily get some US Gen 2 goggles. I'm afraid I'm not very clued in on US night vision goggles because I think a lot of it is covered under ITAR and blocked from sale. I think they're PVS goggles, aren't they, the US series? Right, how much is a PVS 14? Let's have a look. Right, you might be able to get your hands on a PVS 14 for about $1,000 or just under. So PVS 14s are meant to be really good. If you can't get one of those, go backwards. All right, that's all right then. Yeah, it's an old gaming name. See, because it's one of those things that could be either like an old sci-fi Flash Gordon-y sounding thing, or it could be somebody going, "Oh, all designers control everything," Yeah, like Hammers just said, you could probably get a PVS 14 for $1,000 if you're lucky. If not, there's probably slightly earlier gens than that, or like other ones that will just turn up the equivalent or close to it. Yeah, the thing is, there are some some digital night visions, which for like $100 or £100, if you've got a good IR flashlight, they are really good at seeing stuff. The issue is that they're not very good at passive light amplification. My favourite assault rifle, well, bear in mind I only have a couple of DX of assault rifles because, you know, in the UK. I mean, if you'd class it as an assault rifle, the FAL, just because the right arm of the free world, but I guess it's more of a battle rifle by today's definitions, although at the time it was an assault rifle. Probably a very close sort of thing between the AK-74 and the M16 series. But again, there's also lots of very other cool sort of, you know, countries, aren't there, that have come up with their own sort of assault rifles. But the problem is, because I can't shoot them myself and evaluate them, I have to go off what other people like. And I think then it would definitely be, you know, quite close just between M16 and the AK-74 families, just because of the amount produced and the versatility of them. Oh, it's up to UTXC Gaming, because, you know, I was your age once, and, you know, your parents decide what they spend money on. I wouldn't know how you convince them, in all honesty. You know, what do they normally let you spend your money on? Have you seen, Caleb, the video where that really good American shooter, like the guy who holds the record for like pistol shooting, shoots 19 shots from a FAL semi-auto really quickly and gets every shot on target? Because he basically proves that, you know, if you're a good enough shooter, you can shoot 7.62 almost full auto. But yeah, for most people, that wouldn't be the case. There's a good Forgotten Weapons video, isn't there, where they do several battle rifles full auto to demonstrate. I think they said the FAL was the most controllable, but it was still, you know, would hurt your shoulder like a bitch. GP5s take 40mm GOST filters. All right, no name? Yeah, I'm all right, thank you. No. Bayonets by default, LX, are never normally sharp, because a bayonet, if it's sharp, is more likely to get caught in somebody's ribs. Some people sharpen the bayonet after they get them and use it more like a utility knife. But in general, a bayonet always has like a dull edge, because the idea is it doesn't cut into your ribs and get stuck there. It's just designed to go in and out of the rib cage or wherever else it's poked into somebody. So a good example of that, Swiss Sturmgewehr 57 bayonet. And I keep wanting to call this the Swish bayonet because of its name. That's the edge. See, I can do that, no cut. You probably won't be able to see well enough on the webcam, but there's definitely not an edge to this. You know, it's almost a bit sharp at the very tip end, but if you see how quick, you know, how wedgy that is sort of there. Because, yeah, that's the thing. If it's brought across you with enough speed and force, it will still cut. But the point is, a bayonet is designed to be optimized for thrusting and not getting stuck. D&B Militaria used to do these between 30 and 50 pounds. They're like one of the best bayonets you can get for that price range. And again, it's just because a lot of bayonets are upsold because they were on a famous gun. You know, these are really good high quality bayonets, but you know, they end up being quite a lot cheaper than some bayonets just because the gun they came, you know, the gun they were issued with wasn't that famous. But yeah, the bayonets are really cool. But yeah, the reason I don't have more bayonets is just some of them are really silly for what they are. You know, like some of them are fairly low quality knives, but because they're from a famous gun, you know, the places selling them like want hundreds to £1,000, like essentially a rusty bit of metal with a handle on it, and you're like, nah. That was Tyric for the Swiss SIG 510 or Sturmgewehr 57. Basically the Swiss battle rifle, you know, like their equivalent of the FAL or the G3. It shot the same cartridge in Switzerland as the Swiss Rubin, not Swiss Rubin, the Schmidt Rubin series, you know, like the K31. And it was the one that they eventually replaced with the SIG 550 or whatever derivative of series that was. But yeah, it was apparently a very good battle rifle. It's a very ugly looking gun though. Yeah, that's the thing, Visa, that's annoying with a lot of these. That there's bayonets that are sometimes really good quality and turn up at good prices, but they're rare. There's sometimes bayonets that are mass-produced and should be cheap, but they're expensive. Like, I always wanted to get a bayonet for my FAL. Like, all my DIAC guns that can take bayonets, I wanted to get the bayonets that went with them. But M1 carbine bayonets are really expensive, at least over here. L1A1 bayonets for the FAL are often like hundreds of pounds, despite the fact they are like really crap looking bayonets. They kind of look like a less versatile AK bayonet. It's that, kind of build a bayonet. The RPK won't take an AK bayonet because it's not got the lugs for it. The Rubin and the Martini Henry bayonets for those are really expensive. And annoyingly, the Swiss bayonet I've got doesn't fit the Rubin because it's a different kind of lug setup. No, I don't have any US military survival knives. The closest thing I have to that is a reproduction Fairbairn Sykes knife, because as we found out on one of Mike's streams, there was a US survival knife with some branches of the US Army that was a patented copy of the of the FS knife. So it essentially looks almost identical to this, but it's just a US made version of it. I've never used any titanium knives. How well does titanium keep its edge? I know titanium is really strong in certain uses as metal, but I don't know how it actually works as a, knife. I can do a regular video with a Mackenzie, and I have done with some of the ones before, but I can't show them on streams, annoyingly. Like, I can show crossbows on the stream, I can show knives on the stream, all that. Can't show a gun on the stream because of YouTube's policy. Yeah, Dosker, it's stupid, isn't it? Like, now, other than a few DACs in really bad condition or whatever, a lot of the time, DACs are just, silly money, and it's like, why? Because they're so welded shut at this point of how the law. Fowls are $1,000, are they now? See, I could sell my L1A1 for over double the price I paid for it, but I couldn't because I'd have to have it redeactivated to sell it. There definitely will be, but I'm not sure exactly what I'm planning yet. What, Danny? The YouTube policy that you can't show guns? Yeah, Lewis, would that break a lot of, well, not if you're doing it by hand on, a block. It'd just take ages. But I imagine, a bout sander, it might, just wear through the bouts really quickly. Right, there were a couple of theories for it, Danny. One was that because, basically, there were idiots that would shoot themselves by accident on live streams, so they didn't want that on YouTube. But the other theory was because there's been mass shooters that have live streamed a mass shooting. They're doing a token thing of, oh, you can't have a gun on a live stream because that will stop a mass shooter, and it obviously won't. But sadly, it means that, if I waved a DAC or whatever around on a stream like this, I might be fine, or I might have my channel shut down over it, so it's not worth the risk. Deactivated guns, Supreme Mango. Basically, in the UK, to be a DAC now, basically how the law's gone over the years is over the years they've had to make DACs more and more deactivated, but they've at least had a law that said if you've already got one, from a previous thing, you don't have to do anything with it. It's not now illegal. You just can't really sell it or anything unless you have it redeact. But basically, it's like bits are removed or welded shut. If again YouTube let me do it, I'll just get one of my DACs and sort of show you what you've done. They normally cut into the breech and things and the barrel, but the point is that for somebody to reactivate it, they'd essentially have to get a new gun. I've not seen what Scott GSR filters are going for at the moment, but in general, 40mm filters will always be cheap because there's so many companies that make them. Yeah, see, that takes, again, Lewis, that removes the point even more, doesn't it? Here's the thing, Sparrow. According to the rules, it shouldn't, but if you had an airsoft replica, that doesn't mean you won't get a strike or whatever, because they all say, oh, we can tell it wasn't a real gun. That's the issue. Yeah, that's the thing, Lewis, because at that point, that's why I'm a lot more interested, in a way, with either airsoft or, the obsolete calibers like the Martini Henry and the Schmidt Rubens, because there you've got essentially a fully working gun. It's just quite an antique. But yeah, if you're buying a DAC and half the parts aren't real parts, and everything else has been broken in it, you might as well just have a replica at that point. Especially if the replicas would be way cheaper than That's cool. That's not very close to me, but yeah, it's good for the people, I guess, nearby. The one you said about in Basingstoke. Yes, $10 for an S10 is an amazing price, assuming it's not falling apart. I'm trying to think what the airsoft store closest to me was. It's the one in Milton Keynes. Oh, I can Google it and let you know. They were very helpful in there. Action Hobbies, that's the one. Action Hobbies. Yeah, and the thing is, Mike, I know it like wouldn't apply with you, even though it'd be really irritating if you didn't stream, because so many people super chat or whatever to me on here. That would be a massive part of my income gone, actually, if that happened. Yeah, because that'd be like 3 months of no super chats, and some people just like to super chat and not give elsewhere. Yeah, then that's an amazing price, Tyrick. You could literally resell it right now for probably $100 to $200 really quickly. But I'd say keep it if you want a good mask. Yeah, that's the thing, Joe. I suppose if you've got like a good antique thing and you sell it, you can miss stuff. Like I miss my old cars, even though like my current car is way better in terms of it's really reliable and gets good fuel economy. I do miss some of my old cars because you grow attached to stuff like that, don't you? Well, depending on what country you're in, Supreme Mango, in lots of places it's perfectly legal. Like in the UK, you can legally buy a DIAC like MP5. The issue is, you can't do much of it. You can't like wander around waving it about. Yeah, you can legally buy a DIAC MP5, but sadly, I think MP5s are really expensive when they get DIAC, like several grand. Because that was the thing with like L85s. There's lots of guns that people are like, oh, even if it's a DIAC, that'd be cool to have one. But then they look and they're like several grand, and you just go, nope, nope, nope. I can't remember if it was Lewis on here or somebody else, but they were saying that there's an airsoft store where if you want airsoft like replicas, essentially, they do like a reenactor style cosplay kind of cover thing where you can just send them a photo in of you dressed in a uniform, send them some money, and then you can get it that way. And that would be way cheaper, as said, to get something of decent quality than paying like several grand for a DIAC. Yeah, that's the thing, Lewis. Nearly $2,000 for an MP5. Yeah, I wouldn't. See, I wouldn't want to pay that. The one I kick myself still at not buying, though. Yeah, there you go. Airsoft World. That's the one. Exactly. That's a much better price, isn't it, for a replica? £20 a year cosplay insurance. Yeah, the one I was thinking of that I really wish I bought when it was on D&B Militaria for I think £400 or less was the Set Me Model Owl, the 5.56 Set Me's with like the cool futuristic looking furniture on them. Like it was the assault rifle Spain replaced the sort of 7.62 Set Me's with, and I think eventually just bought ARs because it was cheaper to do that. But they're kind of cool. They had like a load of reliability issues, but as a DIAC, they're really cool looking. The only one I've ever actually bought stuff from, Supreme Mango Juice, is D&B Militaria. There's a few others, but I've never bought from them because they either had like really bad interfaces or they were the ones where you'd have to phone them to find out if something was in stock. And I thought, I'm not going to go through, a load of different guns and phone up and go, right, is this in stock? No. Okay, I'll browse. Right, is this in stock? No. For collectors' sort of interest, Juicy Cartoon, or for actual practicality, do you want something that could save your life potentially, or do you just want something that looks okay and is cheap? Cheers, Shed on Fire. It's quite good. Lots of people have signed up so far, and it should be quite good because, I really do like the idea of being able to do like a members only stream type thing once a week, and have sort of a more chilled stream. Did you get to keep the Mosin at least, Lewis? But yeah, that's a bit worrying, isn't it? If a place that sells DIAC guns or whatever also sells essentially live guns to the right customers. Right, cheers, Tiger Man Gaming. Thanks for joining up. Post World War II means after World War II. Post means after, basically. Pre would be before. So post World War II would basically be Cold War up to modern day. So If you're on about assault rifles, that would be like AKs, ARs, G36s, all that sort of things. So for the people who don't know, tomorrow at this sort of time tomorrow, I'll be doing a members only stream, seeing if I can set that up and get it to work. Because bear in mind, YouTube doesn't really give you many tutorials of this stuff. They basically just say, oh, you're eligible for this feature now. Do you want to apply for it? So I said yes. They said, right, within about 12 hours, they actually had a human at their staff review it and go, your channel's all right, you can do it. But they haven't really explained how to do any of this very well. So I'm going to have to go through all the stuff and figure it out for myself. Yep, that's annoying, isn't it, Lewis? And a bit worrying. But yeah, the thing is as well, though, with like firing pins, is again, I find it funny, though, that you could, again, buy a Schmidt-Rubin, you've got an intact bolt with firing pin assembly, and that's completely fine. But in a Mosin Nagant, it's not. And again, I know it's DEACT and all that, and again, it's a more modern gun, so the DEACT laws differ. But I just find all those inconsistencies with all this stuff really strange. What did he say to get timed out? The UK doesn't actually have the orange point law thing, as in, like the orange muzzle brake thing. In the UK, they have to be like two bright colours, like two-tone guns. A working Mauser or a DEACT Mauser, that still seems a good price regardless, £85 if you mean like a Mauser rifle. Like one of the German World War I and World War II Mausers. I've got a cold steel version of the Spetsnaz shovel, but I've not got a proper military one. Oh, DEACT pistol. What? Mauser C96, Mauser P38, which model? Because Mauser made quite a lot of guns. My throat's gone quite dry now. Yeah, it should just be 8 to 9 p.m, Mike, because obviously I'll be conscious that you're doing a stream tomorrow, so I'm probably going to start it pretty much bang on 8, if not before then, if I'm trying to figure out how to start it. Thank you, Sparrow, as well. So yeah, I'm going to try and do it 8 to 9 p.m, pretty sharpish, but obviously it might start a bit earlier if I'm trying to figure it out and then get it going a bit earlier. Yeah, as Lewis says, if it's a Mauser pistol for £85, buy it. Because the thing is, you don't even find many DEACTs at that sort of price, even for broken sort of rusty revolvers, And thank you as well, Terra Lurch. And thank you, I Can Game or whatever as well. Thank you very much. So yeah, the first members only bit of content I'm doing is going to be tomorrow at this sort of time. I'll put an announcement on when I finish this stream, because I think I can do a community tab to, like supporters. I think I can do that. No, sadly, I don't know Morse code, OK9. I know what it sounds like, I know what Morse code sounds like, but I couldn't actually do Morse code and tap it out. But yeah, what was I saying anyway before we had a massive burst of new members coming? I'll tell you how many members we're at now. We're at 24. That is good. But yeah, so I'll do I think in the community tab. Oh yeah, what I was saying was for the people who didn't hear it earlier. If you support me on Patreon or whatever, and you've joined up on this, you might as well cancel your Patreon because obviously, if you want to keep it going, give me more money, do. But I think you'll get a lot better value for money than this than Patreon. Because the problem with Patreon, you can't really do content and link it to Patreon because obviously it's a third-party thing from YouTube. That's not too bad for an AK Supreme Mango, but it depends on what derivative of AK it is. Because I found that like really good, pristine, like classic Kalashnikovs tend to be quite expensive. But if you get like a beaten up RPK or a beaten up AK clone made by, whatever communist nation with, like mismatching wood, then they're often cheaper. Thank you very much as well, Camus. Yeah, that's not too suspect, unsanitary, because that MD3 I've got there, I bought a load when a seller was bulk selling them about 30 quid each plus postage. See if it lets you put a link in because you're now a member, see if it lets you put links in or not. It still might not with YouTube, but if they're charging postage on top of the £25, I think that would probably be legit. Oh, members still can't do links. That's annoying. But yeah, I think that's still probably legit because, again, I think somebody probably bulk bought a load of them from a military auction and now they're selling them off individually. I've got a few camo bits, but I don't really collect uniforms. But yeah, MD3s, in theory, they will go cheap, you know, if somebody's got a massive load of them and just wants to sell them off. Yeah, if it was originally £35, it would be the same bloke I bought loads of those from. Because about a year or so ago, I bought my first MD3 when I was after a Mark II Radiac. And I actually bought it thinking it was a Mark II Radiac. And then I was actually happy that it was an MD3, not a Mark II, because, you know, you can actually run them on D-cells. And that was before they were, like, mass sold on eBay. Then there was a couple of others that got listed, and the guy bought them, you know, and then relisted those same ones, the same serial numbers for like £100 or something. And then I think a guy must have bought loads at like some sort of military auction because, you know, he often had listings for loads and loads of them. That was a guy often selling them for like £35. So I think what he did is he probably paid a few £100, probably got like hundreds of them in like a, you know, bulk lot. And now he's selling them, you know, for like the 20 to 30 quid price range. Right, Shed on Fire, Google ROC bunker. Because if you Google ROC bunker, you'll see the exact sort of thing. Because an ROC bunker, it's that sort of thing, but it's obviously, once I've got the money together for one, it's spotting one that comes up for sale that, you know, doesn't look unsalvageable kind of thing. Because there are some that, you know, are totally flooded and, you know, graffitied and full of like beer cans and piss, you know, and whatever else. But if it's one which just needs repainting, you know, all that sort of stuff, I'd be up for that. Well, if you wanted to make a bunker, you'd need to legally own the land, then you'd need to dig out a hole, and then you'd need to bury like either concrete or a cargo container. ROC bunkers, yeah, some are filled in. Again, what's the point in buying one? We've just got the little chimney sticking up from a bit of ground. But sorry, what was that, Supreme Mango? You said standard £4.06. If you tell me to say something, I will say it in a GP5 gas mask. Saw this on Fiverr. Well, is that somebody on Fiverr, like, is that the thing where you can do custom videos? Somebody's like, pay me money and I'll say it in a mask. Yeah, I don't know, Nandor. There's loads of weird inconsistencies. We've also got things where if something's an antique, it seems to get around lots of laws. Well, with ROC bunkers, Claire, they're all like decommissioned now because they were built like during the 1950s, essentially. So they're completely useless to the government now. They still have a few big bunkers, and some of those aren't even listed where they are, and like some emergency kind of council underground rooms with, you know, all the NBC ventilation stuff. But the ROC bunkers were originally for like plane spotting and like bomb monitoring, and then they just basically watch Surviving the Apocalypse's channel because he owns an ROC bunker if you want to learn loads of history behind them. But basically the point of them was for like observation and, you know, like fallout recording and stuff like that. And they became redundant pretty quickly because if there was, you know, a massive like mad exchange, basically all the ROC observers would be doing was saying, oh, there's lethal amounts of fallout coming in from here, 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 and here. Just to let you know that city's already been leveled, you know. So ROC bunkers, as the Cold War got hotter and hotter, became more and more useless. But I saw a thing, Mike, actually saying that, you know, with all the students being locked in their things. With all the students being locked in their things, I saw one that was really tiny. Literally, it was a bed. There was a tiny bit of room by the bed like there, and that was a desk, and that was his room. I don't know if it was an ensuite one with a toilet in like the next room, or if he had like a shared toilet. It was literally, you know, a bedroom in the sense you could fit a bed in there, maybe a chair and a small desk. That was literally all that fit in the room. So I was like, wow, okay, you know, that's way smaller. And they're probably paying several grand a year for that student, like tiny student flat. It's like I'd much rather have an ROC bunker. Yeah, it's just because of a certain amount of air being shoved through a small space. Henry, can you stop PMing me, please? I'm not saying it to be mean, but I'm saying, can you stop PMing me on streaming because your comments keep popping up when I'm trying to read people's things out? The thing is, you get a bit of land above ground with them normally anyway on freehold, so you don't have to pay for it. So you could always build like a little shed on top of there, you know, planning permission as well. And you could always like have a little kind of cabiny thing on the surface if you wanted. The thing is, Mike, I think a lot of people forget just how unaffordable a lot of housing is now, don't they? Because the thing is, in an ideal world, you'd want a nice house. The issue is, for what they cost, it's just completely unfeasible, especially where I am. It's like the idea that you'd be paying hundreds of grand for like a 1-bedroom or 2-bedroom flat in like a bad area where I live is like, nah, fuck that. Yeah, because the thing is, Mike, I actually honestly don't think I'd be living there 24/7. I actually honestly think my parents would probably want me down here quite a bit just to sort things out for them because they're, you know, getting on a bit. They'll be angry if they hear me say that in the stream, but you know. But yeah, the point is, I don't think I'd be there all year anyway. You know, it'd just be one of those things where it'd be nice to have it. So I've technically got my own place, you know, and I can, if I want to get away from people, I could live there for a week or two at a time. I don't think that's a perk YouTube can let me include, Shed on Fire. I don't think I can offer you anything outside of YouTube for it. I think the only thing I might be able to incorporate is because YouTube's linked with Teespring. I think there is a way I can incorporate a money off system towards Teespring for members, but I don't know how to set that up. I have to read into it. Yeah, as long as you don't get too drunk, Sparrow, that you can't get back up the ladder, or you fall down the ladder and break your neck. Yeah, I suppose it's a nuclear winter holiday home, isn't it? That'd be the good way of looking at it. Yeah, Joe, it's just because I've sort of got to the age now where it sort of grows out all right, so I've kept it. I have to keep this shaved because otherwise, like, respirators don't fit whenever I go out with everybody coughing around me. But regular GP5s, Joe, a few, like maybe 4 or 5 if you count GP5s and GP5Ms. I can see that message, Terra Lurch. I don't know if I saw one before that. What was your... Say your comment again and word it slightly differently in case YouTube's doing the I'm going to delete your comment type thing. Right. It depends on the individual one that comes up for sale, Supreme Mango, because they go for different amounts of money. I would say, in general, if you had £20,000 to £30,000, you know, ready, if one came up, you could probably secure it easily and have a bit of money for renovation. You weren't banned. Somebody timed you out. I don't actually know why. Yeah, Henry, if you weren't listening, I said don't do that when I'm streaming because it keeps making the messages pop up and block the chat. ROC bunkers aren't that deep. It's meant to have a protection factor of 1,000 to 1. It's basically like a concrete sort of thing with a hatch on it. There's a ladder that, you know, goes down. I don't know how many stories technically it'd be down, but it wouldn't be all that far down. Then you've got like the rooms at that height, and then there's an air vent at the other side. So it's basically shaped like that. Yeah, Henry, I was saying don't PM me during the stream about stuff because otherwise it just distracts me from the stream. Unless it's like a really important thing to do with the stream. But what you were saying wasn't. And then they normally pile a bit of earth on top of them, you know, so it's kind of like a mound shaped thing plus the sort of thing, you know, for extra protection. Yeah, it's like saying, Henry, I wasn't saying it to be a dick or anything. It's just it can get really distracting when people decide because I'm on the stream, now is the best time to send me a message. Right, see you, Enclave General, if you're off. So yeah, I'll put an announcement out when this stream ends in a few minutes. But for anybody that didn't hear it who signed up to be a member, I I will be on tomorrow at 8 p.m. So the same time I started as tonight, pretty much. But that will be a members only one. And I'm not sure yet if it means everybody can view them, but only members can comment, or if it means that basically only members can see it and only members can comment and then everybody can see it later, or if it stays as a member only video. I'm not quite sure how it works, but it certainly means members get more options than non-members. Yeah, Tara, what it probably is YouTube seems to have a list of banned words, unfortunately, and they don't disclose what they are. So basically your comment will appear to you like you've posted it, but nobody else will see it. It doesn't even come up for moderation. Yeah, I wear a couple of different half face masks, obviously not at the same time, for the most part, like good half face masks with P3 filters. Like 3M style one kind of things. Just that way it gives me good filtered protection. And I've got ones, where people can still hear what I'm saying. Because in the UK now, you legally have to wear a mask if you're outside, like in shops and whatever. But it's literally all you have to wear as a very basic thing is a bit of cloth. So I wear something that's actually protective towards me and other people, because a lot of people don't wear masks, and cough everywhere and whatever. Favorite US military mask? The coolest looking ones, I reckon, those creepy World War II optical masks. The M45 is really cool, but I don't actually have one. I mean, my favorite classic one is probably the M9A1. Yeah, there's weirdly, Terra Lurch, I think people before found the word safety was getting shadow banned by YouTube at one point, and asbestos. But sometimes it changes, like words that they had on their block list come off of it and other words go on. So you have to basically just try to keep rewording what you're saying until we can all see it. If I can get a good signal, Camus, but the problem is about like mobile data. It'd have to be quite a short stream, because I'm a cheapskate with mobile data, because I no longer have to commute to work. Like on a bus, I can drive to work and that, but when I'm at home or at other people's houses, I just use their Wi-Fi. So I just go for a cheap mobile internet package. But when I used to work in the city, because I'd have to be on a bus often for like 2 hours a day, that was when mobile data, I'd pay a lot more for it, because I wanted to just watch films or whatever when I was waiting on the bus. Webbing and belt kit, do you collect? That's turned up. Right, I've got a few bits of webbing and stuff like that, but not very much. In general, when I've got stuff, it's just because it was cheap for sale, from a surplus seller or whatever. Or I've bought body armor, where stuff attaches to it. But for the most part, no. The closest I've got to a belt kit is an East German combat belt with a couple of the different like AK mag satchels and gas mask satchels in strict sorry that went on it. But for the most part, I don't have complete belt kits and stuff. I don't know if they still turn up at a good price, but at one point you used to be able to get a lot of the South African military, like, ones with all the magazine things that went over and clipped up, that you were meant to wear over, I think, body armor. And I think they were like often being sold for like £15. I regret not buying them now. If I had to pick one camo, it would be woodland DPM, because it would work in more places in the world than desert DPM. Because woodland DPM is going to work pretty well in a lot of woodlands, obviously, duh. It works all right weirdly in some arid deserts, from camo test videos I've seen people do. It also works well in lots of Africa and places like that. And Shot Zombie says, Blumenthal, you chose wrong, yes. Wow, they didn't bring up, like, the thing is, Terra Lurch, I've got obviously stuff like an Osprey vest over there. I won't get up now because I'm just going to end the stream. I can show it tomorrow if you want. I've got like the Osprey vest, and I've got like the MTP vests and that. But I don't have any like MTP, like, like what do you call it, kits and all that. I did see Prepper's Store, but they'd sold out. Had got some of the really good British Army rucksacks in for like 30 quid. I don't know if you saw that, Mike. They also had an armored vest on Prepper's Store with ceramic plates in for like 50 quid, which I thought was an amazing price for a front and back ceramic, and Kevlar vest. Isn't BDU battle dress uniform? Are you on about a specific camo, or are you just on about the US style fatigues? Because I know a lot of people refer to like UCP and all those as BDUs. I've never actually used US BDUs, so I can't tell you if I like the pocket layout or not. Is it any good, Terra Lurch? Because I know some people like the new Virtus stuff and some people hate it. Because I've heard some people say, like, the Virtus helmet's really good, and then, like, you know, some of the other bits okay, some of the other bits crap. Oh, DCU's Desert Combat Uniform. I'm pretty sure they did hack Mercury. But yeah, I generally like really big backpacks. I think at some point I might just end up getting like a good condition secondhand, you know, like 90 or 100 litre military backpack, and then use that as like the one where everybody says, can I do a bug out bag video? Because the rucksacks I've got, as much as I like them, you can't fit all that much in them. So I'm kind of tempted to, if I had to do a bug out bag one, just get the biggest rucksack I could get. Because you can then also use it a bit like a pillow as well. Yeah, I've not actually had a chance to see the vest that replaced the Mark IV, but yeah, the helmet's bloody good, isn't it? The this one, because it's essentially US ECH. But yeah, the main reason why it's really good is just how strong the material is it's made out of compared to Kevlar. Anyway, I'll be off in a minute. Yeah, that's an interesting idea, Richard. But yeah. Yeah, I don't. All right, I'll be off after I answer Shed on Fire. But big thank you to everybody that joined the membership thing or did a super chat. But yeah, the I find the Mark VII isn't uncomfortable at all, at least in my head. But the Virtus is more comfortable because you can quickly just dial that bit in at the back to adjust it without, you know, messing with a liner. Yeah, and also the idea is it's lighter, as you said, so it's more protective and it's lighter. Best of both worlds. Right, see everybody. Apologies if I didn't answer everybody, but as I said, I'll keep going forever if I don't go off now. So I will be streaming tomorrow for the members only, if I can get that to work, and that will be 8 to 9 p.m. UK time. I'll do an announcement about it tonight, though, so people hopefully spot that if they haven't spotted it yet. Right, so see you all. Have a good evening. See you all tomorrow.